Hey kids, Mr. Glenn here, welcome back. So what we're going to do is just have a think about what we might be having in our artwork later on. And so what we're going to do is learn about locking certain aspects to our shapes. I'm going to go and make a layer here, and you can make a new layer by tapping on the plus at the top, okay, like that, and it calls it layer 4. What you're able to do is go and move these around. So you can see that I can start to move my layer up and down. So if I need to make something go in front or behind something, it's very easy for me to control this. Now, so if I want to get my yellow, which is actually called blue, underneath like that, you can see that it moves out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to go and move that back again like so. And then what I'm going to do is call this the proper name. I'm going to call this yellow, so we don't get confused. Good. Let's go and call this red. Done, like so. Now in my layer 4, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and just create a simple scene with a brush. I'm going to go and get some green. I'm going to start with that, like so. And what I might do is go and change my let's go to my recent. I'm going to get my monoline, which is what I like. And then what I'm going to do is just create that. Let's go and undo that because that's not quite right. Make those together, and then I'm going to go and bring those in and color those in. Now, what you'll have noticed there is that I kind of went over the edge here. So if I go and undo that, you can see that if we don't join these lines together, let's going to start here like that. And you have the smallest of gaps here, and you try to fill it in, you'll notice that if I try to fill this in, everything's going to fill in like that, because the paint is going to bleed through that hole that's there and everything's going to be colored in. That's not what we want. So what I need to do is just make sure that my lines are nice and neat and they join. You can see that I've gone around the canvas itself completely and then join the other side. And that's important too, because you may have bleed marks as well, or bleed areas where the paint's going to go into other areas. So when I go and fill here, what I want is for my objects to be locked. I'm going to use a thing called alpha lock, and that's going to allow me to go and have an object in here, and I can go and paint it without having anything disturbed beneath it. So really quickly, I just arranged everything just to show this effect, because this is really handy. Inside each layer now, I have a key shape inside each layer. So let's go and look at that. I've got my hills that I've just kind of put in here. And now I've got my red, blue, and yellow circles on different layers. And this is a key technique. Have individual objects on every layer, so that we can go and edit them and not disturb the other objects that are around it, which is what I'm going to do right now. When I tap on this, you'll notice that before I used it to go and rename my layer. But what we're going to do here together is I'd like you to go and have a go at using the alpha lock. Now, if we look closely at the outside of these shapes, you can see that the outside of the shapes are quite dark. And so I may be able to go and zoom in here and show you that the outside of these shapes here are all dark. When I go to alpha lock now, you may be able to go and see that there are some squares around here. And what this means is I'm able to go and just lock that shape and move any paint around it without disturbing anything else. So let's go and I can paint over this now. So I'm going to go and get my recent brush, which is my airbrush here. I'm going to go and I've got that color, so it's a contrasting color. And then I'm going to go and paint directly over it like this. And as I paint, you can see that my brush is going quite expansively across the canvas. Okay, if I go and turn that alpha lock off, I'm going to destroy my this on purpose, going to make mistakes. You can see that when I do the same thing, it doesn't stay within that shape, which is why it's good practice to go and think about these shapes and have one shape on here and then you can go and unlock this really simply, and then you can go and paint freely knowing that you're not going to make a mistake. So what I'd like you to do now is just go and try this on another shape. So I'm going to alpha lock that, go and use a contrasting color on here, and you can see that I'm then going to go and not disturb anything else that's around it. Okay, go and do that for all the other shapes. I'm going to just undo that and let you have a go yourself. As always, good luck.